Hello, my friends. Dr. Matthew Loop here. Welcome to this free training, the Google My Business, aka Google Maps New Patient Blueprint. I am super pumped that you're here right now because I'm going to share with you one of the most important things that you as a chiropractor can use in your online marketing going into 2017. This is subtitled How to Attract an Extra 12 to 20 New Patients per Month from the World's Largest Search Engine Without Spending a Dime. I promise you, you're going to learn a lot of stuff today, and it's going to be well worth your while. Google Maps is, in my personal opinion, the most valuable real estate on Google, and I've worked with thousands of chiropractors over the years. So real quick, what I'm going to ask you to do, though, before we get into the presentation, is to turn off all your cell phones, get off of Facebook. I know that's probably one of the only times you'll hear me say that, but lock yourself away and really focus and pay attention to this information, because this one thing alone can create a windfall of new patients in your office. And the cool thing is you don't have to spend one single dime on traditional advertising or online advertising for that matter. Now, I'd like to start this off with a quote from Eric Hoffer when he says, "In times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists." We still have chiropractors that are promoting their practices like it's 1999. This has to change. We as a profession need to get with the times. So that's why we're on the webinar today together, so I can help update you so you can really thrive going into the new year. Now, if we're not connected, make sure we do connect on your typical social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can look me up at Matthew Loop, and on my Facebook fan page, you can check me out at facebook.com/MatthewJLoop. Typically what I'll do is I'll share new social media updates and trainings that help you grow your practice very quickly on a shoestring budget using social media. I wade through a lot of the BS for you, and if you know about social media, you know there's a lot of garbage. Some of it can be a huge time suck, so I try to give you what will produce tangible results in your clinic. And by the way, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, go ahead and click or type yes in the chat box right now that you see on your screen. I may ask you some questions a little bit later on too during this presentation, but I want to be clear that everyone can hear me. Awesome. So listen, if you haven't already, make sure you download the free Facebook marketing cheat sheet that I have at dcincome.com/go/cheat sheet. This is 22 pages of everything that you should be doing on Facebook that will help you grow your practice. It's very comprehensive. Make sure you download this ASAP, just an FYI. Now, the goal of today is a few things. One is impact. You're a chiropractor. You obviously love what you do. You want to help patients. You want to transform the state of health and healthcare as it is today. So our goal is usually to make as big of an impact as possible. And of course, social media and the internet allows us as professionals to do that. So I totally resonate with you there. Now, the second thing that you might want to do is you might want to evolve with the times, right? Now, it's almost 2017, so we certainly need to evolve with the times. And the reality is our patients are on these social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and Google. So we need to be where patients are and start promoting our practice like it's the year we actually live in. Now, of course, the third thing that we want to do as chiropractors is we certainly want to make a professional income, right? Obviously, that's a good thing, but a lot of chiropractors are broke these days, and we need to put a stop to that because, in my personal opinion, we need to be wealthy as a profession, because I would love nothing else better than seeing chiropractic commercials running 24/7 on major news media outlets, as opposed to the whole toxic sludge is good for you, the unethical marketing that we see by many drug and food companies today. I'm sure you can resonate with that. Now, another goal of today is we want to create systems online, because this is not about giving you another job. My goals have always been to create systems for you as the doctor so we can do the work one time and let the system serve us for years and years to come. And certainly, we only have a tiny fraction of time today, but the goal is to create as many systems as possible and then just stack and layer those as you go, and eventually that snowball turns into an avalanche. There are some internet marketing strategies that can produce a windfall of patients, but the power comes in when you stack so many things together on top of each other. Now, if you're not familiar with me and who I am, basically, I want to give you a good impression. I haven't always been successful, obviously. In fact, you probably know I'm a chiropractor like you. I graduated school in 2004, and during that time, I thought I was doing the right things to build my practice. I had a, fairly busy office, but I was just very naive when it came to certain elements of business because they didn't teach us this stuff in school. I ended up getting $120,000 in debt, probably like you with student loans. And then from there, tried a lot of ineffective advertising gimmicks, maxed out my credit cards. In fact, it got to a point where it was so bad. I distinctly remember this, and I was getting ulcers in my stomach because I was so stressed out. But I've got this massive student loan debt. My credit cards were maxed, and then I had $1,000 of bills due the following week. My ex-girlfriend's father had to cut me a check for $2,000 just to float me along. That was just such a humiliating time in my life, but it really got me to start thinking of, listen, I'm a chiropractor. I've got a great message, these great hands. I can adjust exceptionally well, but for some reason, people that even know they need my service, they're not coming in. Why is this? So I had to figure that out, and then I started reading books like E-Myth by Michael Gerber or Influence by Robert Cialdini. These books changed my life simply because it got me to think in terms of how prospective patients and consumers think. I started to understand the psychology of why people bought and why they didn't. And right along that time, a little social network called MySpace stepped in. Anyone remember MySpace? If you do, go ahead and just type in yes in the chat box. Yeah, exactly. So MySpace was very interesting because a lot of people thought it was a kids network back in 2005, 2006. I was on there hanging out with friends, and I just started to notice certain things like, wow, I can really connect with a lot of people that are close to my office, within 5 miles, within certain interests. And these are real people. This is amazing. And as I started to work this network, 1 to 2% of all the people that I would come in contact with would be like, hey, you're a chiropractor. I've got this going on. Can you help me? And it started to build my practice. Well, what happened is that turned into like 10, 15 referrals per month just from using MySpace, of all things. And so my chiropractic colleagues got wind of it, and they started asking me, hey, Matt, what are you doing? How are you building your office with this platform, this kids network? And I started showing them exactly what I was doing, and they started referring their friends, which were out of the chiropractic profession. So I had to figure out how to package my knowledge into a digital product so at least they could buy this training and then I could still practice. So that was a whole different process, and that's when initially my flagship training, Social Media Elite, was created. But something I figured along the lines, I said if I could help thousands of chiropractors, help millions of patients, really just transform their ideas of health and do something that's great for their body, I just thought that was an amazing mission to undertake. So again, that's kind of how I accidentally got into consulting. Social media has taken me so amazing places. I was fortunate to be the best-selling author of Social Media Made Me Rich. We hit the bestseller category #1 in 9 categories on Amazon, and then we're also featured in Forbes magazine. And this book is right now in over 17 countries. So I'm very blessed in that regard. Social media has taken me to some amazing places and allowed me to influence with some incredible people. This is Usher, the famous pop superstar. If you ever watch Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, he's actually a really nice guy when you're not trying to take his money for an investment. So we had a wonderful wine tasting with him. David Copperfield, legendary illusionist out in Las Vegas, got to take my mom out to see him. And then one of my favorite bands, my gosh, probably my first tape was Pyromania by Def Leppard. Got to meet those guys a while back and hang out too. So social media, if worked correctly, not only can build your practice dramatically, but it can make you an influencer in your marketplace. So one, you're networking with other influencers, and two, you become the go-to expert in your area, and referrals just happen hand over fist. This stuff has changed my life. It's changed thousands of my clients. So we're going to tap into one of those powerful strategies today. So again, shut yourself away from any distraction and listen closely. Let's talk about the pillars of social media marketing first, because in this journey there are several pillars, and we're going to drill into one of those today, which is the reputation and social proof management. You're going to find out how important this is and how we can harness it to increase our referrals in the office and not really have to do much work. That's one thing. Of course, you have Facebook organic marketing, which is the free stuff. You've got pay-per-click advertising like Facebook paid ads and Google AdWords, search engine optimization, SEO as it's called, and that's just a fancy word for getting your chiropractic website ranked at the top of Google for any given key term. YouTube marketing, which is online video. This is a powerful medium. If you harness correctly, can certainly make you famous in your local community. Blogging, which is just basically having a blog on your website and publishing high value use content regularly. Microblogging network is like Twitter, for example. Photo sharing, Pinterest and Instagram. Your wife or your significant other is probably on there. The demographic on Pinterest is over 70% females, which is perfectly in our chiropractic demographic. News releases and publicity. This is another powerful aspect, like press releases and such, where you can get your news announcements and launch something into your community and get some tremendous media exposure. Podcasting is another form and pillar of social media marketing. But let's really drill into this now. So make sure you have a pen and pad handy. I'm going to go really fast because we've got a lot of information to cover, and I want to make sure you absorb or at least can take away as much as possible. So write these things down. Why Google My Business, also known as Google Maps? Well, it's the most valuable real estate on Google, period. Some people call it Google Maps, Google Places, Google Local Business. Seems like it changes its name every other week, but it's currently called Google My Business. I will synonymously refer to it in this presentation as Google Maps. People buy doctors like they buy books on Amazon.com. They want to see the feedback first, and they want to see the reviews. Now, you go to Amazon right now, and I guarantee you, even if it's a book that you really, really love, or a DVD, or some product, you're always going to go check out the reviews. Consumers are no different when they're searching for chiropractors. I need you to understand this. Our goal is to be trustworthy and credible in their eyes. This is the low-hanging fruit if done correctly. Here's what it looks like. So if you Google, for example, Seneca, South Carolina chiropractor, these are the listings that come up. You'll see under the advertisements, you'll see this maps listing, and then you'll see the top 3 listings in this 3-pack. Now you can certainly click the more places option right there, which will take you to more listings, but the holy grail really is to get in this top 3-pack. And of course, let's be honest. If you were searching for a chiropractor in this area and you saw a doctor with 1 review, 3 reviews, and 53 reviews, who are you going to select? I think the answer is pretty obvious. It's just how we're wired. You're going to select a chiropractor with 53 reviews. There's absolutely no contest. So our goal is to get you like this in your area. The first hurdle is, 1, getting your listing ranked on the first page, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this presentation, but also having the most social proof, and having the most social proof by 2 to 3 to 4 times. So the first question to ask yourself is, do you have a Google Maps listing? Do you? Go Google your name right now. Google your practice name. You might already see one that's ranked. And in fact, if you Google your town chiropractor, if you Google, let's say, San Diego chiropractor, you might already be on the first page and not even know it, which would be an incredible bonus. So Google your name, Google your practice name to see if you are on the first page. If you have a Maps listing, are you on the first page, which is one of the main goals. So that's something to also note. Do you have any reviews? Do you? Do you have the most reviews in your community? Remember what I said. People buy chiropractors like they buy books on Amazon. They want to see feedback, and whoever has the most reviews is going to own the social proof. And if they're ranked on the first page, they will reap the lion's share of the new patients. And mind you, this also affects you in different areas too. If you're doing a screening offline, if you're doing radio or television advertising, prospective patients, will most certainly Google your name, and they'll Google your practice name. So we need to, it doesn't matter if you're doing online marketing right now or social media or what, if most of your stuff is screening, this applies to you more than you know. And in fact, when people come in your office, one of the first things that they do after they've been seen by you the initial visit is they still go online and they will Google your name and your practice name to validate and verify the reason why they came in your office. So this is another area where having a strong Google Maps listing seals the deal on conversions. It makes people more likely to stay with care. Do you have a negative review? You don't have to type in the chat box or anything if you do, but here's the deal. The best products and services eventually get a negative review. It's going to happen. But if we stack social proof in such a way that we've got 100 positive reviews and 1 negative review, well, listen, that looks normal. So, do you have a negative review? Now, here's something that I see a lot from doctors that do not just check the reputation online on a regular basis. Now, if I was Googling, let's say, chiropractor Decula, Georgia, and this listing from the joint, I know nothing about this facility, but if it came up on the first listing and I, as a prospective patient, saw a 1.5-star review, I'm done. I'm not even going to look at this listing because this doesn't look like a business or practice worth going to. That might be true, that might not be. I mean, who knows? Maybe this patient had to wait 5 minutes longer in the reception area. Maybe there was a billing issue. We don't know the scenario, but all we do know is that we're not going to choose this facility. I mean, think about it. And it's terrible, I know, but that's how people think. Maybe you might investigate this a little bit and you might see what the review was, but most people are not going to do that. So we cannot afford to do this. We cannot afford to have a review like this and have it front and center. I want to tell you a story about a private coaching client of mine, Dr. Kathy, and she's out of the West Coast in the Seattle area. Dr. Kathy, just like many clients, I've got a lot of stories like this, in fact, but Dr. Kathy, she was referred by another coaching client of mine, and she was getting a trickle, 1 to 2 patients every single month from Google. People, said they found her online and such. This happened for probably 6 months, and then it just stopped, like somebody turned the faucet off. Well, another 6 months goes by, and she's noticing 0. So somehow she's connected with one of my other private coaching clients, and then my client gives her my name. We start talking, and she explains to me her situation. And so what do you think the first thing that I did with her was? Yeah, I Googled her name, and I Googled her practice name. Well, guess what I found? I found a 1-star review on Yelp, Health Grades, Google, and RateMDs. 4 networks by the same person, was really agitated because of a miscommunication in the billing. I'm sure you've had this happen as a chiropractor before. I mean, we have the best of intentions, but sometimes maybe communication is not clear. Well, lo and behold, this patient went online and just, told this doctor and her staff off what she thought. And so it was very clear to see why her business, her new patients from Google, completely dried up or were dramatically less. Now, we didn't know how much that was costing her until we started to really beef up her reputation. So within the first 2 months, she got an extra 25 reviews to her Google Maps listing. She had 7 or 8 to her Yelp listing, and then, with Health Grades and RateMDs, she got an extra 10 reviews to all of those. So in a sense, she was now rated 5 stars across the board when people searched her name and her practice name. Well, that, believe it or not, turned into an extra 3 calls per week with appointments, 3, 6, 9, 12. She was so really she was attracting 10 to 12 people that actually came in the office per month. Her average case value, lifetime value per patient is about $1,800. So you do the math. How much was Kathy losing by not having a stellar reputation online? And this happened for months and months and months. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars. So this is the power in terms of the revenue in your office, what you may be losing right now. So if you have a negative review, hey, don't freak out. We can simply and easily build social proof. And if you don't have any reviews at all right now, guess what? You don't look review worthy. And is that a good or a bad thing? It's a terrible thing. So always we got to stack the social proof in our favor. Here's where to start. 1, look for your listing first. We talked about that. Google your name, Google your practice name. If you don't see anything, well, you can go to google.com/mybusiness and create your own listing. And if you do have a listing, you can go and verify that. Google will, if let's say you Google, whatever your practice name is, and you find a listing but you haven't claimed it, it'll say something like,
own this business, question mark, click here to claim. Click that listing, follow it through, verify the listing. It's almost 2017, so we absolutely must market and promote our practices like the year we actually live in. If you agree, say yes. Type yes in the chat box. Exactly. No more of this 1999 stuff. This is where our patients are searching. So here are the Google Maps ranking factors. Write these down. And some of these have changed slightly over the last couple of years, so this is really, really important. Now, number one, yes, you need your profile completed, verified, and the category should be selected. There are a lot of chiropractors that I consult that Google has already made your listing for you that aren't, like, the category is not chiropractor. That's how you get ranked within that certain category. So make sure your category is chiropractor. Your profile should be completed. Business name, the office hours, business description, adding photos and images, all that other good stuff, just like a Facebook profile. Make sure it's done. Listing verified, that's more credibility. That means you go through the verification process. Google sends you a postcard in the mail. When they send this to you, you just type in the 4-digit code that they have, or they'll call you. It's one of the two. They'll either call you or send you this postcard in the mail for verification. So make sure you follow that through. This third one is a biggie, and this is a huge change from years past. Google now loves to see activity on this profile, and they favor it in terms of ranking you high on the first page. So here's what I mean. On your Google Maps listing, you need to be active every single week. And in fact, just like your Facebook profile, it might do you a good job to be active every day, whether that is responding to a review, uploading a photo, publishing a status update just like you would post an update on Facebook. All of the above count in terms of activity on this profile. This is a credibility indicator, and the more active you are, Google looks at that and they favor it in terms of rankings. I'm telling you, this is so important this year. Your keyword in your business or practice, in your business description, so obviously chiropractic or chiropractor, should be in those in the business description, since that's what you do. Citations are basically your practice listed on other directories around the internet, like Yelp, Superpages, Angie's List, Health Grades, and the list goes on. You can either build these yourself or you can outsource them to a specific company. In Social Media Elite, my flagship training for chiropractors, we have a whole module dedicated to this Google Maps, Google Local Business, with video tutorials, and I share with you some of the best places to grab your citations. But know this is a powerful and important ranking factor that you have to create them manually. It takes a little bit of time, but that's another credibility indicator in the eyes of Google, because businesses that have been online for years and years and years have a lot of citations. Reviews. Reviews are an incredibly important, arguably the most important Google Maps ranking factor. The top three, though, are your citations, your reviews, and the activity on the profile. So make highlights and asterisks next to those. Traffic to your regular chiropractic website is important. You need to be getting traffic, because if you're not, well, you have a chance at Google ranking your Maps listing lower. That's where you need to learn other strategies as well. Distance to the town center. We don't really control this. If somebody's searching, let's say, on their mobile smartphone, or if they're searching from a certain IP address, sometimes Google can rank based on the proximity to the centroid, based on how close you are to where Google deems this, the center of the town. So, but in 95 to 99% of the cases, we can still rank on the first page of Google and not be the closest in our area to the town center. So that's the good news. Going back to this listing, who would you choose? You're going to choose the 53 Review Chiropractor. This is a no-brainer, obvious choice. So we want to stack the social proof in our favor the same way when somebody Googles chiropractors in your town. Now, this is one of my Social Media Elite clients, Frank. He says, I've been posting to my Google Plus page like a madman, and it put me on the map. This is when I said being active on your Google Maps, your Google My Business page. When a search was done in my area, my listing didn't even populate on the list, but it does now, and I have 40 Google reviews already, more than 3 times the reviews than anyone in my area. Matthew Loop, I am grateful for your Social Media Elite course. I have 8 new patients this week alone from online, and the emails and the calls keep coming. This is, this is an amazing result. I see these success stories all the time with Google Maps if you dial in the protocol, and this is from a client of mine. Dr. Dan Farkas, he says, I used the training program and did everything I was told. 4 months after opening a new office, I've been able to get here at the top of the list on the front page of Google without spending a penny on marketing. Thank you, Matthew Loop. You can absolutely do this too, you doc watching this right now. So let's talk about the script that gets you reviews quick. I apologize, I'm going to have to take a drink of water because my throat's getting a little hoarse. All right. Good to go. So let's talk about the script. I want to make this very simple, so I don't care where along the lines you are, whatever technical background you have or that you don't have. If you're a low-tech chiropractor, you can easily do this. So let's not complicate things. So Mrs. Jones walks into your office. She's feeling enthusiastic about chiropractic. That's when you're going to say this. Mrs. Jones, we're thrilled that you've noted such great results with chiropractic. Tell you what, we would love your feedback on our Google Maps listing. And if you give us your feedback on this listing right here by your next visit, we've got a special gift of appreciation for you. It's normally valued at $27, but really it's just our way of saying thank you for letting us serve you in the community. That script is very simple. We give a deadline, an incentive, and we also want to give a reminder at the day of the deadline. So and I say that because sometimes life gets in the way. People forget, and you're not their first priority. On their next visit, or like 4 hours before their next visit, you could either text them or send them a phone call, just probably like you do right now for appointment reminders. But aside from just saying, hey, Mrs. Jones, we'll see you at your appointment today at 4 o'clock. By the way, we also wanted to thank you for being kind enough to leave us feedback on Google. That's all you have to say. Even if she didn't leave feedback, it's a very gentle reminder for her to do so. Now, again, this is for a patient doing a review at home. The other option that you have is to get a review in the office from that patient's smartphone. So if they come in with an Apple iPhone or an Android, then we can modify that script to say, Mrs. Jones, we would love your feedback in the office today. And if you give us your feedback after your adjustment, take a couple quick minutes, you can repeat that same script to them. Now with the iPhone, the patient needs to download the Google Maps application. Very quick, takes 30 seconds, and then once they download the Google Maps application, they can search for your practice name using their iPhone, and they can write the review right then and there, and you will be fine. That's the only way you can get reviews in the office if it's from the patient's smartphone. The money is in the follow-up, though. You probably already know this. So if they're not going to do it in the office, we got to follow up. That will dramatically increase your the patient's likelihood of doing it. And I'm telling you, you want to look the patient in the eye and get the verbal commitment. There are certain software programs on there that are out there that I hear that they try to automate this process for you. And in theory, it's a good idea, but the problem is the conversion typically is relatively low because we're not getting a verbal commitment directly from that patient. They're not looking us in the eye. We're not shaking their hand. There's a big, when you are able to do that, get that in-person commitment, the conversion is much higher, especially if you're giving an incentive and a deadline and a follow-up reminder. Now, imagine if you would have implemented this script 6 months ago. How many more people would you be helping in your community? How much more traffic would you have to your website? How many more new patient referrals would you be getting every single month just from this Google Maps listing? I can tell you phenomenal stories of doctors that are getting over 20 plus patients per month just from this Google Maps listing. And depending on your case value, that is a lot of money that you're leaving on the table, and people that need you that are looking for a doctor that you can help. So I don't want to see you at a seminar 6 months from now and you say, hey, Dr. Loop, I saw your webinar online, but I never actually implemented anything. And you might be on this webinar right now. Maybe you've even seen this information before. And if you've seen this information before and haven't implemented, shame on you. So many people in your community need your help right now, and you can have such a more prosperous and abundant practice. And we're talking about tens of thousands in new revenue per month that could easily be added by just doing this one thing that you don't have to spend money on. So don't wait another 6 months. I'm very fortunate because I stay abreast of all the new information in terms of Google, social media, and these platforms, and I try to deliver that all the time online and, of course, in our social media elite Facebook group and to our members. And I'll even post a lot on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all these platforms. But you've got to take the initiative because people need your help, and you are the only solution that's viable, as opposed to them getting sucked into a medical system that all it's geared is to create dependency and lead them down the path to sickness. Now, my number one social proof rule is very simple, and that is to never ever let it work against you online, period. I don't care if that's Facebook fans or followers, Google reviews, Twitter followers. You want to be seen as the most popular doc in the area, and I know this sounds very childish, but this is just how prospective patients are thinking when they're choosing a doctor. You've got to own the social proof game, and if you do, and if you're ranked really well, you will reap the lion's share of new patients searching for chiropractors. This is very reliable. It works like clockwork. Here's a simple plan of action that you can implement. Write this down. I want you to get 5 reviews per week. Can you do that? 5 reviews from family, friends, previous patients in the office, and also current patients that you're treating right now. Very easy to do. Follow this script that I laid out today, but get 5 reviews every single week. That's all, just 5. Now, I will caution you, do not send an email to your entire database of patients giving them the deadline and the incentive. The last thing that you want to do is get 60 reviews in 3 days, because Google looks at that as abnormal sporadic activity, and they will filter some of those reviews, which we do not want. Do not do that. If you're going to email certain patients, you can email a few at a time and then give them a deadline and incentive. But consistency is the main deal. 5, 10 reviews a week. If you get those for your practice, you're not going to have any issues. Maybe some will get filtered periodically, but you're not going to have any major issues there. Something that's really important, which I know we don't have a lot of time to go into, but is repackaging these reviews. You know, putting these reviews on your website, screenshotting these reviews from Yelp, Google, or Facebook, or any place that you're getting reviews, and then putting those screenshots on a property that you own. Could be a blog post, could be in your email newsletters, could be on your website. You should have a testimonials tab on your website or success stories that features all of your reviews. Like, you know, for example, if you've got 50 reviews on Google, that's 50 reviews, testimonials that you could have, and what you could say on your website, you might say something like, while we've treated thousands of patients over the years, here's what 50 or here's what 100 had to say. Your prospective patients are going to read all of those, and by the time they're finished, you are the obvious no-brainer choice if they're searching a chiropractor. Not enough docs are doing that. Here's a mistake to avoid: getting reviews from the same computer in the office. This is different than having a patient pull out their smartphone. Your computer has an IP address, and even if there are different patients that are logging in to your computer, that's a big no-no, and Google will filter many of those reviews. Do not do that. Mistake number 2 to avoid is inconsistency. That's the kiss of death with Google, with any online marketing at all. Don't be inconsistent. Create systems so all the team in the office is on the same page, and integrate this as a part of your regular protocols. This is a really big deal. Consistency moves mountains. Write that down. Consistency moves mountains. Little by little, step by step, weeks, months go by, and you're going to have a couple dozen, maybe 30, 40, 50 reviews in no time. Mistake number 3 to avoid: not getting started. This is not going away. Google and other social media outlets, this is not a fad. This is the evolution of communication. And as I'm going back to what I said earlier in this presentation, we as chiropractors need to start marketing and promoting like it's the actual year we live in. Would you agree? Yes, of course. We have to start marketing like it's the year we live in. It's almost 2017. Yelp. It sucks. we know this, but it's a necessary evil. You have to have a presence on Yelp. But I'm going to give you a good bit of advice here. And just to give you an idea, actually, of how powerful Yelp can be, Yelp alone, and this is excluding Google Maps, Yelp, I've got a doctor in North Carolina that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head, and he's in a big city there. He attracts an extra 20 new patients per month just from Yelp, and he's not paying anything for advertising with them. It's just the regular organic listings where he's attracting that many patients without spending any money. And he's only he only has like 23 reviews or so it's not a lot. Yelp can be very powerful for the practice. It can also cripple your practice if you're not careful, because one review on Yelp that's negative shows up very, very high. But here's the trick. If you're going to send patients over to Yelp, we need to make sure we get their, we need to make sure they're active on Yelp, and they're actively reviewing other businesses. So in your office, just take a poll of patients. Mrs. Jones, are you on Yelp? And are you active? Do you review other businesses there? If she says yes, we're going to take her name and put it off to the side. So when the time comes where she's feeling absolutely fantastic, she loves chiropractic, she's enthusiastic, we're going to ask her to leave her feedback on Yelp because we know it's going to stick. And by the way, if you have filtered reviews on Yelp, you can still take screenshots of those and put them on your website to repackage, like I talked about just a little bit earlier. But we have to approach Yelp a certain way. Other review websites that rank on the first page of Google for your name and your practice name: Health Grades, RateMDs, Wellness.com, Angie's List, City Search, Bing, your Facebook fan page in the reviews. So all of these, we need to have reviews certainly on there so we hit the 5-star level. And if we do, patients see that, and it's one of those obvious social proof factors. You guys finding value out of this presentation? Nice. So we know the protocols that we should be implementing for our practice. Implement these like clockwork, and you will see a dramatic increase in your social proof, your credibility, the amount of traffic coming to your website, the visibility that you get online, and the amount of new patients in the office. Even if this only brings you a couple extra new patients a month, which is unlikely, especially as you get it ranked on the first page, you're going to get a lot more than that. But even if it does, it's a system that's online that you don't have to consciously think about, manage, and maintain, that it will serve you for years and years to come. And this is a big deal, where a lot of strategies that I teach are completely different from all the other stuff that you see out there. This, just like many of them, this is not a one-and-done strategy. We're thinking about years and years to come, and we're putting systems online that will serve us. I hope you understand the power at your fingertips, especially this year. So number one, get this Google Maps protocol implemented like I shared with you, and you will see some amazing results in your clinic. Now, just from doing these webinars and speaking at presentations over the years for thousands upon thousands of doctors, there's usually 3 types of docs in attendance. One, you've seen this information, and quite honestly, for whatever reason, it's going to fall by the wayside and you're not going to do anything with it. I sincerely hope, for your sake, and for the sake of patients that really need you as a chiropractor, that you're just not going to let this sit idle. A lot of patients are sick and dying, and you might be their only hope that they can contact you or find you online. And Google Maps is a fantastic way for them to find you. Now, the second type of doctor you might be, maybe you've seen this information, you know that social media or Google is not going anywhere, and maybe you're seeing a little bit of results. Maybe you haven't gotten started yet, but you know the time is now, and you're ready to master social media simply because you want to help serve more people and you want to increase your practice revenue. The third type of doctor you might be, maybe you're already, getting great results with social media, 10, 20 new patients a month, but you're capable of so much more. Either of those categories, I can certainly help you, more so if you're in 2 and 3. Hopefully, again, there's no one in category 1 on here that's not going to just let this information sit idle and not do anything. But I know from years past, that that's usually a few people. But if you're in category 2 or 3, what I'd like to do is introduce you to my flagship training, Social Media Elite. This is a program that's a home study training, has over 55 video tutorials that you get to look over my shoulder. It's instantly downloadable, so once you're in, you receive a welcome email with the downloadable links. It's created by a chiropractor, a doctor, just like you. So this is not theory created by some other business professional that doesn't have an intimate understanding of how chiropractic works, especially the types of different practices that are out there and such. This works for any type of practice, whether you're straight subluxation-based chiro or if you have a personal injury practice, functional medicine doctor, nutrition. It doesn't matter. I've worked with every single type of chiropractic practice you can think of. We also offer a 6-month money-back guarantee on this training because I know you're not going to return it. And the last thing I wanted to do is give you a small window of opportunity to try these strategies. Once you try one strategy again, it starts producing for you. These are systems that are going to feed your practice for life. Now, I shared with you a powerful system today, but there are 8, 9 other systems with, many legs in those systems that should be integrated for maximum effectiveness, so you can create this massive spider web online and you can blanket, so it doesn't matter where a prospective patient turns, if it's on Facebook, Google, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, they're going to see your content, they're going to see what you do, and they're going to automatically know, oh my gosh, this is the go-to chiropractor. There is a strategic way to engineer that and manufacture celebrity in your marketplace, and I show you how to do that in Social Media Elite. So here's what you get in the trainings. You get Facebook organic referral marketing strategies. That's in module number 2. There are numerous video tutorials in there where I show you, and you look over my shoulder about what's working now in terms of Facebook marketing strategies. Some of the strategies have been the same for years that still work very well with many of these trainings. Other times, if there's a new strategy that's important, that's going to help grow your practice, we put it in the course just to make it more effective. Facebook ads marketing, your pay-per-click stuff. Facebook advertising, if done right, is the holy grail. You can flip a switch, turn on traffic, and send traffic to your website, collect names and emails, and bring people in your office. It's a really powerful way to have another system in place. So in module number 2, there's a separate folder called Facebook PPC marketing, where I go into video, using videos on Facebook. I go into using static ads. I even give you sample ads to swipe to take the guesswork out of it. Google Maps marketing, Google Places, or Google My Business, whatever you want to call it these days. I have tutorials that show you how to harness that most effectively. And if you found value in this presentation today, you'll certainly like those video tutorials because they're even in more depth about the map strategy. Search engine optimization, it's not as complex as what many webmasters have told you in the past. There is a specific certain way. We use what's called content marketing to get ranked on the first page of Google for years and years to come. This is not a fly-by-night strategy. This is actually something that Google favors and has favored for years. So next time Google does a major algorithm update, you don't have to worry about getting penalized because you're not doing anything that's against their terms. So I show you how to do that in Social Media Elite in Module 3. Instagram marketing. Instagram is a powerful platform. It boasts over 300 million members. It's owned by Facebook, and you can use that to attract people in your office and also to get the message out about chiropractic and get some great branding. Pinterest is great because you can use it a couple different ways. 1, to rank high on Google for specific pins, and 2, to get a tremendous amount of local traffic and exposure for your practice. So, and again, this fits into our chiropractic demographic perfectly. Most Pinterest users are females between the ages of 22 and 55. That's perfect for us. YouTube video marketing. If I had to credit one thing that's been responsible for me getting well known in several marketplaces without spending any money in advertising, it's been YouTube. My videos, they sucked when I first got online in 2006 with YouTube, but I kept them online and I consistently improved. And those videos, even though they were terrible, they attracted a loyal following and base, people that are still with me, that were inspired, that became customers. And it was just amazing how powerful YouTube can be. And we certainly can use YouTube to sneak in on the first page with some of these listings for your chiropractic practice. So it's a very powerful strategy. Blogging, blog marketing. You'll learn about blogging and how to do it most effectively. Every chiropractor needs a blog this year. It's absolutely important. I mean, it's a foundation of your online marketing. Twitter is great because it's real-time conversation down to the second. It's a microblogging network. So if you know how to harness this correctly, well, you can certainly tap into people that are talking about headaches right now in your city. How powerful is that? I mean, that's insane. So we have so much power at our fingertips. In Social Media Elite, I also share with you about outsourcing and leveraging. The goal really is not to give you as a chiropractor another job to do. You have to get your hands dirty, and I'll tell you from experience, The doctors that get the best results with social media, they know what the heck's going on. Now, that doesn't mean you have to program or code stuff or learn any fancy, techie, geeky language, but it is new learning in a certain extent. You got to get your hands dirty, because what you can, what you can measure, you can improve. One of the biggest mistakes many docs make is they just try to outsource everything from the get-go. They can't track anything, and they think that, okay, well, social media is not working for me because this company is not producing the result, which nothing is further from the truth. That just might be a bad company, and they don't know what works for a chiropractic practice. So you've got to learn the systems of what is working now, which is what Social Media Elite shows you how to do, and then you can certainly delegate those systems to somebody in the office or another company. A quick start manual and task list. Now, if you like the way that this presentation was structured today, you're going to like the quick start manual and task list, because I show you specifically what you need to do in your practice. I mean, there's like, here, do this, do this, do this. And we update that every so often, so you understand what's working now. Google Plus trainings and more. If something changes, we'd like to update that training. Strategies have stayed the same, some of them for years. So as the internet evolves, so will the course. Here's what Social Media Elite will do for you. It's going to give you strategy. This presentation today, you learned the difference between strategy and haphazard marketing. There's a huge difference between being strategic in your marketing versus just, I'm going to post something here and there. We want to have a strategy behind, a proven strategy that's going to produce patients for years and years to come. That's what this course shows you how to do. Traffic. Traffic is the lifeblood of any business, period, online. You could have the greatest chiropractic website in the world, but if you don't have enough traffic going to this website, it doesn't matter. You're not going to bring in any patients. You're not going to help anyone. So we need to learn how to get traffic from multiple directions. As I mentioned previously, the goal is to set up a spider web online, so people, they don't just find you from Google Maps. They find you from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all these social platforms that are coming back to your site, and people just start to know, like, and trust you. Top Google rankings. Yes, every doctor wants top Google rankings. This course shows you how to do that in a way that's not black hat, by Google's rules, so to speak. PR, once you understand this content and material, you can become an unstoppable public relations machine for your office. You couldn't turn off the machine even if you wanted to. That's how powerful this is. Once you dial it in and you start to see your presence get out online. I mean, it's amazing, amazing stuff. More new patients. Obviously, we're chiropractors. We want to help reach and serve more patients. I could tell you stories of doctors that are using this program right now, Social Media Elite, and attracting over 100 new patients per month. Now, that's certainly not a typical result, but to show you what's possible. Now, to show you what's doable for a lot of doctors, certainly, is over 30 to 40 new patients per month. I have a lot of doctors doing that in many different markets. So, social media, you basically get out of it what you put in. If you're going to create more systems and stack those systems and layer and layer and layer, you will see a dramatic increase, 2 to 3 times more than what you're probably seeing right now. And again, even if you only received an extra 5 or 10 new patients per month extra without doing any additional work, yeah, there's going to be ramp up time. There's going to be work getting the systems in place, but it's not too complicated. Once the system is online, you can basically set it and forget it. But even if it produces an extra 5, 10 patients a month, and your average case value is $1,000, that's $5,000 to $10,000 extra per month, which I'm trying to be very conservative for you, just to show you what's powerful and what's possible with social media. And you learn a set of skills with this that pays you over and over again for life. This is one of the most important skill sets that I've ever learned in terms of social media marketing and promotion. Now, okay, a lot of doctors will say, well, listen, I don't have the time. This is great, what you shared today, but I just don't have the time to implement. And the reality is, we know that we both make time for the priorities in your life. So if growing your practice is a priority and you want to create these systems, you're going to have to sacrifice maybe an hour of Game of Thrones or whatever TV show you like to watch every single week. It's just the trade-off you're going to have to make. And many times, you might have downtime in your office, or your CA might have some downtime in between that you could be using this. I find most doctors are on the computer 30 minutes or 45 minutes a day, which is really all you need to devote to this marketing. you're probably on the computer that much anyway. Let's just turn that into productive time to market the office. That's all we're trying to do. And to be consistent, that moves mountains. Excuse number 2 that I hear a lot is, I'm not a computer geek. I'm not a computer geek. How am I going to do this? This is not like biochemistry, okay? It's not like biochemistry that we had in school. Way easier than that. Yes, social media is a new language, but it's not as complicated as you think, especially as you immerse yourself, you get familiar with the terms, the technology. You're going to be able to implement this stuff very, very easily. And if not, of course, I have support that can certainly help you and guide you so you stay and that momentum keeps going. Professional guidance and mentorship. Listen, I've encountered any obstacle you will face with social media marketing or Google or any of these platforms. Any obstacle. So as a social media elite member, if you ever have any questions, you can certainly email me directly. You can post them in our Facebook group, and I can help keep you moving forward so you don't have to get stuck for a day or for 2 days, 2 months, or whatever the time frame is. It's great to have a mentor that's already been there and done that, that can shortcut your learning curve. There are shortcuts to success. You just have to align with those people that have already been where you want to be. And I've encountered any obstacle you will face with social media. Now this is Andy Green. Andy actually writes, he says, "Hi Matt, we're in the UK, Chiropractors and Osteopathic Center. I have social media elite from you a few years ago. Thank you. Getting 60 to 100 views per day." He's referring to his website. "Average new patients in clinic 60 per month, about 40 per month from the internet." That is awesome. Some markets are really, really wide open. Others are more competitive. But nonetheless, this shows you what's possible when you dial in all the strategies. This is Dr. Ryan French. He says, "Every day this week, somebody called for a new patient appointment from Facebook or YouTube. Unreal. That's now 9 in the last week and a half. Took a bit to get going, but I'm impressed. Thank you again." Listen, some strategies are going to perform immediately. Other strategies, there is a ramp-up time. I'm being totally honest with you, right? You can't expect to compete with somebody that's been in the market for 3 years if you've got a very minimal presence of 30 days, obviously. But the ramp-up time is minimal in many regards, and eventually that snowball turns into an avalanche, and once it pops, it can pop hard. Sean Mateo writes, 7 new patients in the last 5 days, all but one from Google searches, and that was a direct referral from an MD. Thanks, Matthew Loop. Jay Greenstein writes, "Gotta tell you, Google reviews off the hook. Your shit works really cool." That was really funny when you said that. Dr. Jeff Royster, "It amazes me how so many chiropractors are afraid to learn something that is so easy and effective. When I opened my first office in the late 90s, I used newspaper ads, yellow pages, telemarketing, etc. It was expensive and mixed results, to say the least. I just opened a new office 2 years ago using Social Media Elite. I'm averaging 30 to 40 new patients every month from social media. It's truly a no-brainer." Again, this is what's possible when your systems are dialed in. But even if you're getting an extra 5 to 10 new patients a month, it's still really powerful. So on today's webinar, Social Media Elite normally retails for $597. We sell that program every single day for that price. But for today's webinar, you have access to a 37% discount for a limited time. And not only that, we're going to give you over $3,288 in bonuses. Number one is a fast-track phone consultation with me that's valued at $500. I realize your practice is different from the doctor down the street, so I want to make sure that you hit the ground running, and the phone consultation with me is a great way to do that. So I'm not going to refer you to any staff member like a lot of other people. We're going to get on the phone directly. Number two is you get access to our private Facebook group. This is an amazing, amazing group. We've got over 750 members that are active in this group right now. This is a $997 value. Listen, if you have questions, you can certainly ask me directly, or you can post them in the group. I've trained all of those doctors, and there's so many great ideas that fly back and forth. It's hard to put a price tag on this group because of the strategies that are in there and the docs that are testing and bringing back new information with our members. You're also going to get access to the 365 Chiropractic Graphics package. That's a $197 value, and that sells every day for that price. Anytime you ever run out of an idea to post on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest, you can use these graphics, and you'll find that they'll get engagement, and at least they'll keep you moving forward with Facebook. Free course updates for life. There's not going to be a Social Media Elite 2.0 or 3.0. I hate when people do that. You pay one price, one investment, and then you get this upgrade for life, this $9.97 value. Unlimited email support. As I mentioned previously, you can certainly email me if you have any questions at any time. I have clients that still email me after 5, 6, 7 years. In fact, I just had a doctor email me. He was probably one of my early clients. I want to say in 2007. Still had the DVDs and didn't have the latest update. Came across my content again, so we gave him an update at no charge. That's the way that I like to do business, right? If you are going to invest in our trainings and our products and services, we're certainly going to reward you for years to come, and those strategies will reward you in your practice for years to come. You're also going to get access to our 3-day new patient machine email sequence. If you have an email list of current patients, you can also use this as a reactivation sequence to pull anyone that's off the fence to reactivate them in your office. If you have a list of prospective patients that you have from screenings or maybe some online marketing over the years, you can run this sequence to them, and it can attract a flood of new patients just from using email. So you'll be able to grab all those bonuses when you invest in Social Media Elite today. So here's what to do next. If you like the idea of attracting an extra 40 plus new patients per month from social media without spending any money on advertising, then make sure you click the big orange Add to Cart button that you see on the screen right now. Click it one time. If you click it multiple times, what happens, it might add another product to the cart, and then you'll have to clear your cookies and temporary internet files and then re-click that link. So just click it one time and then follow the checkout through. Once on the first page, it's going to ask you for your information. On the second page, you'll be able to either pay with credit card or with PayPal. Select whatever option is best for you. Once you've paid, check your email inbox. It might take up to 30 minutes, but it's usually much faster. Also check your junk and spam. Sometimes the welcome email gets filtered there. You'll get that welcome email. It'll have all the download links and instructions so we can connect afterward. Now, I get a lot of doctors that also ask about private coaching, and currently we have a waiting list. Now, I'll just tell you this. Be totally honest with yourself. I get most doctors that start with Social Media Elite, but if you're going to end this presentation, if the information is going to fizzle out, and if you find yourself that you just function better when you have a coach that's holding your feet to the fire, you might be a candidate for private coaching. You can certainly send a message in the chat box and or email separate. We can send you an application. Honestly, this is a very expensive investment. Why? Because if you have a lot of skin in the game, I know that you're actually going to implement what we talk about, and you're going to get some great results. My average coaching client recoups their investment within 30 days, but that's just all I want to say about that at this time. Most doctors, though, will start with Social Media Elite and use that to hit the ground running to attract more new patients in their office so they can reach and serve more patients, and eventually that snowball will turn into an avalanche. So again, hopefully you found some value out of this webinar presentation. Click that big orange Add to Cart button below. This is Dr. Matthew. We're glad you joined in today, and I want to help you reach more patients in your community so you can be more effective using social media. Again, once you're in, check your email inbox for the welcome email. Click the link to our private group so I can give you access to that, and I look forward to helping you grow your practice using this new medium, which is social media. Guys, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.